Hello everyone and welcome to the Auto Club Speedway for the running of the King Taco 250, the second race of the season here for the Crown Royal Truck Series. 40 drivers in this event, 41 qualified, only one went home this weekend. Priya McShane, her first pole in her Truck Series career. She starts on the pole for today's event. Eric Monaco alongside her in second, picking up where he left off 2 weeks ago in the Crown Royal 300, finishing second to current points leader and Crown Royal 300 champion Jesse Turner. In row number 2, you see Riley Spurley but Diego Yepes making his first of 8 starts for Shepherd Racing this season, puts that number 89 Monster Energy Toyota Tundra up to the 4th position. And Daniel Kobza rounds out your top 5. Got a lot of drivers in this field ready to go racing, a lot of fans ready, watching at home, ready to see these guys go to action. Roger Ray, a great run for him, starting 10th for the Butcher Gatorade Motorsports team, based out of San Luis Obispo, California, in that number 01 truck, rolls off today in the 10th position. You also got his teammates starting a bit further back, though, very far back in those other trucks. New schemes out today, but there's Jesse Turner in the gap number 47 for Anjato, rolls off today in the 18th position, try to keep his run for a chase berth going strong here if he can stay up front and possibly even get a second win this season if he can do so. Of course, Kukulon won last week's event in Las Vegas. For the Sundrop Cup Series, he was the Sundrop 500 winner. Let's see if we can go 2 for 2 in the first 2 drivers of the season, winning the first 2 races. Pole sitter from the Crown Royal 300, Vince Freeze, starting mid-pack in that number 60. He's going to have some time to work up. Alex Peters, 2-time winner here at Auto Club, has won the last 2 events, looking to make it a 3-peat here today if he can climb his way from the 21st position all the way to the front after 50 laps. Looking further back through, Alex Beniaco is not in the 82. It is Alex Beniaco in the 82 this week. Cody Goforth sitting out after last week. Carson Bowers makes his return to Auto Club for KGM, this time in the number 90 truck. He rolls off pretty far back, though, in the 29th position. Came up just a lap short of winning this event last season for KGM in the 25 truck. Christian Vargas there. Kukulon is in the 06 for Harman Benning Peterson, and Will McNally Racing making their start again in the number 15, this time with California kid Charles Sanford in that number 15 Toyota Tundra, making it a start here. And Kyle Corbett and Mike Cook. Cook finally making his first start of the year after he DNQ'd the Crown Royal 300. Got a lot of drivers ready and waiting for this race to start off. 50 laps at Auto Club is just about to begin. Let's go ahead down trackside for the commands to fire the engines here at the Auto Club Speedway for the King Taco 250 in the Crown Royal Truck Series.
Drivers, start your engines!
With that, the engines are fired. We're rolling off for 50 laps here at Auto Club. Sure to be an exciting event. Last year was a great event. A lot of racing, a lot of close racing. It came down to fuel strategy at the end, because the fuel window, about 22 to 25 laps here at Auto Club, depending on how much draft you use and how long you can string it. A 50-lap event here with a caution pretty early on to bring everyone down pit road could really shake up the standings. Priya McShane for Rockstar Energy Racing, she is happy to be out in front, and it's good to see her out in front for RER. A great season so far for that team. She ran very well in the duels. She only finished 21st in the Crown Royal 300, but that's much better than RER has had the last few years in the Truck Series. We'll see what she can do today, but Eric Monaco, the big threat, could come out of this one with a race victory under that belt for that Anjato team. Anjato looking to go for 2 in a row here if they can do so today here at Auto Club. Riley Spurley, a hometown kid from California, starting this race in 3rd for Sauber Racing Team, trying to get himself into victory lane. His last win coming at Road America last year for Texas Star Racing, his one and only Crown Royal Truck Series victory. It's 40 drivers for 50 laps. We got a long way ahead of us here. McShane and Monaco, Spurley, Yepes, Kobza, Lane, Stephen Wallace Jr., and Matthew Eves, Peter Onjak, and Roger Ray, your top 10. All 40 trucks, no one failed post-qualifying inspection, so everyone is good and clean to go racing here at Auto Club. 40 cars for 50 laps. It's going to be a 2-mile oval, some very high speeds, green flags in the air, and we're racing at the King Taco 250. Already a bunch of snaking already behind the top guys as Spurlytube, Kobza, and SWJ did not know where they were going to go. It's going to be Spurlytube up the inside, though, in the 28 for the Cold Stone Creamery Salva Racing Team number 28 Dodge, as he's going to clear himself, but Monaco tries to get the run off the corner. They're 2 and 3 wide behind him down the back straightaway. All 40 trucks under a blanket as they come down the back. Look at Peter Onjak already making a move on his driver, Kobza, and his teammate, Stephen Walls Jr. Onjak up to the 4th position. He won this race last year in the Cup Series. And the pack behind him now 2, 3, and 4 wide even, and you're going to see them really spread out down this front straightaway. But one lap is underneath, is behind us. It's in the books. We're racing here at Auto Club. Lap 1 complete. Now you're going to start seeing these guys hitting about 205, heading into the corners. The outside line might be able to carry some momentum. And we're going to go ahead to this camera angle so you can see that outside line will be able to carry some momentum. Lane really can't go anywhere in that 27, but they are carrying the speed away from that inside line. And here comes Austin Johnson in the 77, bringing himself up to the front as well. But it looks like Monaco is going to go after Spurlytube here. Battle for the race lead as they come off of turn number 3. The top 2 trying to pull out into a 2-car tango away from the field as McShane holds up the rest of them, mostly Anjado and CFRO drivers back there. You also got Yepes, TSR, GDI, but it is Spurlytube leading as the crowd cheers. The California crowd out here supporting their driver in Riley Spurlytube. 3 laps in the books already, or it will be 3 laps in the books this time by. Spurlytube pulling away from Monaco. McShane, Peter Onjak, Stephen Walls Jr., your top 5. We're going to go ahead back about midway through the pack. There you see Jesse Turner, the 24 this week, Gunnar Matheson. You got Roger Ray, who's already dropped like a rock. Started this race in 10th. He's already outside of the top 20 in that 01 truck. Logan Bradley up the track further back, so a lot of these drivers fighting hard already, and this is where you're going to see those moves made because you got to make them early. If we get into that portion of the race where the tires start to wear and the field starts to spread out, it's going to be much harder to make moves, especially on that inside line, which could cause a ton of issues as we go. And it's a car around, and it looks like, I don't know who it is. It looked like Spurlytube, and it is Riley Spurlytube, and the 28-year race leader a couple laps ago is now spun out at the back, and here comes McShane back to the inside on Monaco, and that's going to be side-by-side for the race lead coming off at turn number 4. These two are going to see who's going to lead them back to the line. It looks like McShane in that 2 will, so she will take hold of the race lead once again. And your not Polsitter started this race 3rd, the driver who was leading these laps, goes around, and Spurlytube, lucky, was not hit by any other drivers. And we're under caution for the first time today here at Auto Club, the King Taco 250. Riley Spurlytube has some right side damage to that Sauber Racing Team entry, and now the rest of the field's got to organize themselves back together as they catch up to the pace car. I think McShane will get around Monaco here, and that she will. So now, 5 laps in, you got to wonder, do you pit now to get on that weird cycle that could make you pit at the end, or do you just come in? Do you just stay out, try to save some fuel, possibly make this a one-stop event? If you did make this a one-stop event, this first stint all the way till about lap 25 would be horrible for you, especially on tire wear. But McShane will lead the field down Monaco, Onjak, Perez, and Kobza. That is your top 5 there. All Dodges led by a Ford, and that's how the series is going to be this year. Maybe not with the Ford leading, but you got so many Dodge teams that are so good. You got KGM, of course, TSR, Anjado, Salva Racing Team, GDI, and CFRO are showing some speed. So the Dodges are going to be king like they have been for the past few years, but no one is going to stay out. All 40 trucks going to come down pit road. We're going to get the first pit stops of the Crown Royal Truck Series season right here as these two go to the later pit stops. So they are the front 2. We'll watch McShane and Monaco's pit crews go to work. And it looks like a bit slow on McShane's truck. It could be a fuel-only stop for the 2 and the 44, and a lot of drivers going for fuel-only. Monaco going for tires is going to drop him back. Alex Peters goes for fuel-only there. And there you see Spurlytube just bringing that 28 down. So Monaco's 4 tires is going to put him pretty much back to the back of the field. And now we're going to have to get a quick update and see what everyone did, because we have a ton of differing strategies for this restart. But we also got a caution to get caution replay to show you from Riley Spurlytube. So we'll go ahead, get a picture of that on your screen. Bring us back to the action here at the King Taco 250 after this replay. First incident of the day, heading down into turn 1. Spurlytube and Monaco just racing for the lead. Monaco throws the 4 up the inside, gets right into the 28, and just doesn't let off and turns Spurly into the wall. So That 4 might need some security leaving here in front of the hometown crowd for Spurley too, but some not too heavy damage, but really the scariest thing is all the near misses he has. Probably could have been hit by about 10 trucks there sliding back down the track. And you're going to see this here on this helicopter view. Bounces off the outside wall and then back down. That entire outside line barely missing him, and even those guys at the back barely missing him as well. So Spurley 2 escaping disaster very narrowly in that 28. Continues to race on in this event. Only one truck really involved in this one. Spurley 2 around in turn 2 for the first caution of the day.
No, kids are not a burden. Sometimes you might think maybe they are. I mean, every once in a while. But, yeah, it's just like this guidance, you know. You just guide them into appreciating just the good things in life and the things that'll give them true happiness. And someday you got to let them go, and it's hard. It's hard to let them go.
Guide your car to true happiness. Chevron with Techron.
I'm a crier. I mean, just thinking about it makes me cry.
Back live at the King Taco 250 at Auto Club. We are back here just about a lap before we go back racing to get an update on your field. Couple bits of fuel strategy happening under caution there. So you got a couple drivers that did not take tires, or the majority, I should say, did not take tires. One driver took 2 tires, that being Jose Perez, first driver back there, restarting in the 7th position. And then you have about a dozen drivers or so that took 4 tires under that caution. So Eric Monaco, Antoine Smith, Austin Johnson, Roger Ray, Carson Bowers, Zach Rogers, the 25 of Larry Hagan, the 59 of Zachary Fitzwater Sr., Gatlin Downey, Jesse Turner, Vince Freese, Christian Vargas, Matthew Brown, and Kyle Corbett. All those drivers took 4 tires, so that means they're going to have a bit more grip as this race starts to get into, if we do get a green flag run, they might be the ones you see charging through the field. Meanwhile, the rest of these guys, now that they all topped off on fuel, can make it longer, but those tires are going to be really crying at the end of that about another 20-lap stint if we do have this race go back green. But, of course, with Auto Club being such a big track, you see a lot of strategy options because the tires will wear quickly. So now you're sitting here basically thinking, do we see this race go green the rest of the way? Do these guys have the ability to make those tire calls? And which tire calls were the best ones? The majority of the field went for fuel only, just a splash and go. And you see Daniel Cobbs beat out Priya McShane for that race lead, Stephen Walsh Jr. 3rd, Matthew Eves 4th, and Peter Onjak 5th. But now you also got Alex Peters sitting 9th in that 45, who is driving the same truck he's taken to the last 2 victories here at Auto Club. Granted, last year was a bit more of a luck-based one with everyone running out of fuel. They played the strategy right to get up front, but weren't really going to win the race without that. But 2 years ago, when he dominated that race, he ended up winning it, coming down the front straightaway. Green flags in the air. Cobbs and McShane lead us down. Green flag back out at Auto Club. Roaring through turn number 1, all 40 trucks still up to speed, still in this race, though Spurley 2 might be a bit off the pace back there. Flybys, they come off of turn number 2. Everyone getting up to a full song of over 200 miles per hour as they head down this back straightaway. You see SWJ topping out at 198. So SWJ up to 2nd, has never won in a truck race. Priya McShane has 1 win in the trucks. Eli Bright won 3 last year, but Kobza and SWJ have none. Alex Beniaco just got his first last year. Jose Perez hasn't won in a while, and now they're 4 wide for that 2nd position, and that's going to get dangerous, but you can see it work here at Auto Club very often. You can make 4 wide work. You just got to make sure you stay in your lane, and this is going to be a good angle. You'll see all 4 lines pretty much who gets the momentum. Eves on the outside is going to carry a bit as Perez Beniaco now 3 wide with Alex Peters. Ryan Butcher, the hometown hero for Butcher Gatorade Motorsports in that 17 truck back there, as he makes a nose, dives his nose to the inside. Alex Peters now going to push up Beniaco and Onjak, going to allow Lane to get 4 wide on the inside in that 27. The Haviland colors on that 27 for this season, as he's making it a big stretch down the front straightaway, but losing a lot of time being on that inside line. He's going to lose maybe 4 or 5 spots in the length of the front straightaway just by being on the bottom. So you see, this is one of those tracks that the inside line does not always mean you're going to win the race using it. That outside can also carry, and it's carried Eli Bright now up into 2nd as he begins his hunt of Daniel Daniel Kobza there. The 44 truck has not gone to victory lane in about 3 years. The last time with Peter Onjak at Mesa Marin. Actually, it was 2 years ago in season number 3 of the NSDCA. It won no races last year, but did win the owner's title in that 44 truck. So Onjak, proud of that, but he wanted to win the driver's title. Of course, you remember what happened last season with the 48 truck, and both of those, your title contenders from last year, Jefferson and Onjak, neither of them in their iconic numbers, those being Daniel Kobza and now Matthew Eves, who has driven this 48 truck all the way up into the 3rd position so far. If you remember a couple of years ago, Jose Perez, his first time here at Auto Club, he slid down the back straightaway on his roof after the big crash that involved Kalen Nosler there. He's up in the 4th position, chasing him down right there as he's to the inside of Eli Bright. And as we said, the Dodges are going to be the kings of the Truck Series. And we got 1, 2, 3, and 4 all Dodges. 6th is also a Dodge and Stephen Wallace Jr. But look a bit further back. There is Alex Peters in that 45 truck, having a great day so far. Started this race 21st all the way into the top 10 with some of that pit strategy. But let's talk about the driver to his outside, that being Diego Yepes. As you see, Matthew Eves is taking the lead away from Cobbs up there. Yepes has driven this track in 3 different trucks in his career. Actually 4, I should say. He drove it twice for Shepherd. He's driving it here in the number 89. He drove it 2 years ago in the number 77. He's also driven it in the number 99 for Shade Burkhardt Racing when Brady Burkhardt was suspended for a season. And he's driven it here and won in his own number 77 truck at Monster Motorsports back when they drove Fords. As you see, 4 wide, but behind him, now Alex Peters trying to make a move as Benyako's going to hold him up. Look at Gunnar Matheson with a big move almost into the back of his teammate Priya McShane there, as that middle pack is starting to get aggressive 3 and 4 wide. But back up to Yepes there in that 89. He's a proven winner here at Auto Club. He won, I believe, 3 years ago. Then it's been Alex Peters ever since, and I'm pretty sure we did not run here in the no, we might have ran here in the trucks in season 1 of the Truck Series, but I digress. We still have Yepes in his 4th different truck. He's competed here at Auto Club, having a great day so far. 5th position for Shepherd is nothing to laugh at. After this year, they're going from 2 full-time years with Yepes and Morris now to just 1 full-time, or not 1 full-time. As there's a caution, it looked like I saw some smoke at the back as Eves and Perez are going to fight for it, and it's your pole sitter, Priya McShane, so everyone who started up front is starting to drop like flies in this event, and we got the battle up front between Eves and Perez, and it's going to be Matthew Eves leading them back around in that 48 truck. Kobza in 3rd, and Alex Peters trying for 5th, but Matthew Eves will lead the field back around 15 of 50 complete here at Auto Club. Still a long way to go, but the fastest trucks in the field, Priya McShane, Riley Spurley, both now damaged in turn number 1, and it's going to cost them dearly today, who both came into this race looking for good things. And now the only one that's started this race up front still with a shot is Eric Monaco, at least from that top 3, and he's only about 14th. But now this is what is going to be interesting. You come in about 7 laps ago. It was 7 laps between the caution and the start of the race, so you can't come back down 2 and 4 tires. But if you took those 4 tires on the first pit stop, like Monaco, Antoine Smith, to even come in, we see a bit of a difference there in the pacing lines, and that usually means that some drivers are staying out, some drivers are coming in. So we will go ahead and see with possibly another diverging pit strategy, and that's what it's going to be. Looks like about half the field's coming down, half the field's staying out. So that is going to be the new storyline of this event. Who's going to win now? Which pit strategy is going to win? We have 3 from that first incident with the 1-2 tire call from Perez, a couple guys going 4 tires. Now you got a split decision with drivers who didn't take tires last time in, and a good portion of the field now coming in this time. And we'll see what Daniel Kobza, Eli Bright, and the rest of these guys up front at least do as Bright pulls into his pit box. Bright did not take tires last time. It looks like they're going to work on that truck now. You see Yepes and Kobza coming in, these two both up front. So they're going to get their tire call now. Not going to be able to get you to the end of the race. Again, fuel window's about 20 laps in. We still have a lot of time left as Cobbs is going to go for 2 tires only in that 44. Interesting call there. So we'll get another update as this goes. But, oh, man, Yepes and Spurley almost making contact there. And Yepes and McShane pretty much did on pit road there. But that is a bit of a wild incident there. Couple guys making some major strategy calls, and Daniel Kobza comes in 2 tires only after taking no tires on the opening pit stop. I don't know if that's the call to play or the right call to make, but we'll see as this race progresses. Still not even halfway in this event. We got another caution to take a look at with Priya McShane going around in the 2. Looks like all the front runners are dropping like flies so far here at Auto Club. Let's get you guys that quick replay. Second incident of the day, similar fashion to Spurley Tubes incident, but Peter Onjak in the 97 drives right up to the inside of McShane and turns her basically straight into the wall. Not going to be collected by anyone, though. Stays right at the top of the track. Everyone gets by her. But those Onjato / Peter Onjak drivers really getting aggressive today. That's the second driver turned around by a Dodge today. And that's Priya McShane, your pole sitter into the outside wall. Her day of competitiveness pretty much over. Back live again at the King Taco 250. Some more diverging strategy calls under this caution brings us yet to another conversation here about what the best strategy is going to be. Basically, the entire back half of the grid from Daniel Kobza on back all came down pit road. However, Kobza was the only one to take 2 tires. Everyone else took 4, so Kobza on a bit of a different strategy there. He is 23rd there, so again, the top 22 are the drivers who have not did not come down under that caution. So a lot of them do not have new tires on the car at all. You got Jose Perez with those brand new 2. Antoine Smith was one of the drivers that came down for 4 earlier. So did Zach Rogers, Eric Monaco. So you got guys like Eves, Alex Peters, Alex Beniaco, Austin Johnson. I think Austin Johnson. Anyway, up in this front group that do not have new tires on those trucks at all, and they're 19 laps old. This would be the end of a fuel run if we were green flagged the whole time, so this could be bad for some of those drivers and possibly a bit of an Anderson Reed situation from last week in the Cup Series where these guys might have to dive in real early, try to get those tires on and make up for this strategy call. But as this race has gone, we've seen many crashes already, 2 as a matter of fact. But the scarier thing is we've had some pretty close calls, hoping that if we see another one today, it will be like the first 2 and not a major incident like we've seen in the past here at the very fast 200-mile-per-hour plus Auto Club Speedway. It's Matthew Eves on the front position. In second is Jose Perez. Third is 2-time winner Alex Peters. Fourth sits the number 82 of Alex Beniaco. 5th, Austin Johnson. All 40 still in the race. That's something to smile about. Green flags in the air. Already drivers making moves. Eves leads us down, but how long will he be up front? We're back racing at Auto Club. North Border Motorsports, the 2 that are trying to jump out of line further back, but it looks like everyone going to go pretty calm at least, except for Patrick Smith. Smith is going to go right to the outside trying to make a move. That's not where you want to be on the opening lap. No one's up to speed enough where that outside line is going to come into play, at least on the first lap after a caution. So these guys got to take care of themselves and not try to throw it in, make too many aggressive moves. But again, you have those guys that are, some came down pit road earlier, took 4 tires. Some have 19, 20 lap old Goodyears on those cars now, and 2 of those drivers with those fresher 4-1s are Johnson and Antoine Smith and Zach Rogers, with Eric Monaco just a little further back, and they are now charging up, passing Alex Peters, trying to pass Alex Beniaco. If we see this race go green the rest of the way, that could be the major fuel strategy and tire strategy. Some of these guys would have to come in a bit earlier than others. Vince Freeze a little slow on the bottom. I don't know if that was his line. It looks like that was his line. He's back up to speed back there. But Jose Perez is now hunting down the 48 of Eves, and this is what Eves was supposed to do in the Crown Royal 300, was to go out there, lead laps, dominate the race, and win it. Instead, he led 0 laps on the day and was just kind of mid-pack the whole time. But that could be just down to how the package is at Daytona, how hard it is to get moves done, especially in the trucks at the Daytona International Speedway. We're here at Auto Club where you can make any line you want work as long as it isn't into the wall, and Perez real close to the inside of Matthew Eves there. We'll see. Look at that difference. Look at the speed difference. The 35 gets back to the throttle much earlier and is going to bring alongside the 48, probably going to get that bumper to about the A-pillar at the front of the vehicle as Alex Beniaco pokes his SBR nose in there back there in the 3rd position. The 82 truck went to victory lane twice last year with Irving Allison. Beniaco took himself to victory lane in the 83 truck once. We'll see what he can do today as he's all over the back of him. But one SBR driver that did not win last year was Antoine Smith. A bit of a disappointing start to the season, but really came into his own at the end of it. Right now in that 5th position, chasing down, possibly trying to get himself his first career NSDCA victory. Jose Perez getting the push there. Austin Johnson to the 77. I don't think he has a truck win to his name, unless he did win last year. I don't remember exactly, but North Border Motorsports has no wins to their name. They were close in the Valvoline 200 earlier this year. They were close with Goforth multiple times, even with SWJ once a couple of years ago in their inaugural season. But now they have that Monster Motorsports equipment, the Monster Motorsports drivers that could get them a victory this year. And if it comes with Austin Johnson, that's going to be pretty interesting. But that's not the only NBM guy up front. Vince Freeze, your pole sitter from the Crown Royal 300, up there in that 7th position, trying to bring that second group up to the first one and make this a bit of a game up front. And there you see the Anjado trio. Cobb's a bit further back in that bright orange Speed Energy 44, but Turner, Fletcher, and Monaco. Anjado won that race by working as a team and getting themselves to the front. Alex Fletcher was the worst finisher out of all of them. He was 17th in the race, while Turner, Monaco, and Kobza were 1, 2, 3. But could they work together now, try to catch up to that front pack? Yepes a bit further back, came down pit road last time by. They're going to be 4 wide down the front straightaway. There's Mike Cook in the 81. He's an ex-Shepherd Racing driver. Aiden Smith, do not throw it 5 wide down into turn number 1. He does not. He backs out of it. But that could have been dangerous, but it could work here. As long as you keep your line, hold your line through a corner, this track is wide enough to go 5 and even 6 wide, but that's asking a lot out of these competitors who really can't drive 3 wide much, often very cleanly, as they are 4 wide back there. Ryan Butcher shoved to the very outside. If something's going to happen, it's going to be right in this mix, as the front group is kind of off to their own. You got some single file up front, but 3 and 4 wide back here, including Eli Bright, Christian Vargas, Stephen Walsh Jr., Logan Bradley, Roger Ray are all back here, Nicky Morris as well. There's McShane in the 2 trying to catch back up, as a couple guys are going to get real close to touching up there. That's Daniel Cobbs in the 44. Look at Stephen Wallace Jr. on the outside, is about to pick up about 6 spots there coming down the back straightaway. Downey might throw the block, and that's his boss in the Cup Series, but not here in trucks, as now SWJ just gets himself out of that back half of the pack. Now maybe kind of held up, as Mike Cook's going to try to follow him through for Luke Evans Incorporated in that 81, who really needs his luck to turn around after an awful start to the season. And it looks like now this group's starting to kind of spread out 2 and 3 wide. And maybe we'll see some good racing, possibly some green flag racing like we saw last season all the way to the end, as now Austin Johnson and Vince Freeze, teammates for North Border Motorsports, have caught up to the 2 Dodges, and they're going at it for the race lead with Perez and Eves. Antoine Smith a little further back, Ben Yacco, Zach Rogers, Peter Onjak, Alex Peters, and Eric Monaco. That's your top 10 so far. 27 of 50 complete here at Auto Club. And Johnson, you got to worry if you're Jose Perez. The last time Johnson was behind him, he turned him into the wall and hurt him pretty bad at Kentucky. Johnson's going to take the race lead away in the 77 pretty cleanly, but Perez is going to fight back. If he can win here, that'd be big for a driver who is just coming off his first race since his injury last season at Kentucky. He's now in the 3rd position, trying to answer Gatlin Downey Incorporated's struggling wishes of trying to get a race win this year, and they're going to try as hard as they can. But it's North Border Motorsports 1 and 2 for Austin Johnson and Vince Freeze, your front row for the Crown Royal 300, as Freeze is going to throw it to the inside. Nothing's going to happen there. Perez now fighting back on the outside of Freeze. That's side by side for the 2nd spot. Eves back and forth. Antoine Smith rounding out your top 5, and Alex Peters still back there. Monaco coming down pit road. It looks like a majority of them coming down, so this could be the alternate strategy. Some of these guys came in under that last caution. At least I thought they did. But if that is the drivers from this first run, and no, these guys did not come down last time under that caution. But Eli Bright on pit road, an engine issue on the 8 2 weeks in a row in differing series. The 8 is going to be out with an engine issue. TSR engines are coming back strong this year, and it's all Eli Bright, sadly. But now you're going to see all those drivers that came in earlier on at about lap 8. You're coming to the end of that, and lap 29 is when you got to come in. That's 21 laps, basically. Everyone else is going to stay out and collect their laps out in front, trying to keep those trucks alive and continue on. But all you're going to do is 4 tires and fuel, get yourself back out there, and try to run this to the end. The problem with these guys, though, 20 laps is your fuel window, and we have 20 laps to go, so this could be down to those guys who can save fuel out of them. But for these guys up front, including Alex Peters, Peter Onjak, who are fighting for this race lead, I think even if they came in this time by, they could be good all the way to the end of this event and be able to make it to the end, and that's what they're going to do. Here comes Onjak and Alex Peters in, so this could be yet another differing fuel strategy race here at Auto Club, as Kobza and Stephen Wallace Jr. are going to pick up the race lead. Mike Cook, Logan Bradley, Aiden Smith, Diego Yepes, that looks like the 24 of Gunnar Matheson back there. Matt Sladek, John Dilks, Nicky Morris, Ryan Butcher, Sanford Kukulon, Faye, Fitzwater, and McShane all stay out on track, and they're going to be able to run probably another 6 or 7 laps until they have to bring themselves down pit road. And here's going to be the battle as they come off of pit road. There is Jose Perez, Monaco. Matthew Brown is going to pick up a ton of spots for Butcher Gatorade Motorsports in front of the home crowd here in California, and he's going to be possibly fighting inside the top 5 once that other group comes down to pit road. But the problem is a caution. Oh no, Onjak and Peters already came down pit road. So let's get back up to that front group that stayed out. There's the back 5 of that group, but there is the front guys staying out and leading laps as Mike Cook led last time by. So Luke Evans Incorporated, that might be their first ever Truck Series lap led in that 81 truck. Give a shout out to Mike Cook driving the wheels off that thing right now. Stephen Wallace Jr. back there as well. So these guys will have fresher tires for the end of it, as Matt Sladek and Logan Bradley, I don't even want to know what happened between those two. They're coming through the corner. But you got Luke Evans and Stephen Wallace Jr. Those are the two right now leading this field, pacing it around. 33 of 50 complete. Going to take a quick commercial break here, bring you guys back to the action at Auto Club for the conclusion of this event. Let's hope we can stay clean and green the rest of the way here in the King Taco 250 in the Crown Royal Truck Series.
To us, fire isn't just fire. The way a burger isn't just a burger. In the right hands, fire wields culinary magic. Stoking it to 600 degrees, our char grill coaxes out the best flavors. It sears in juiciness. It marks the beef with a smoky char, all signaling to your brain, whoa, now that's fire. We've raised the bar to a perfectly juicy char. The Habit Burger Grill, stoking the flame since 1969.
Back live here at the King Taco 250 at Auto Club. It is Mike Cook pacing the field, leading this race for Luke Evans Incorporated. And if this 81 could sneak what Carson Bowers tried to do last year and win this, that'd be pretty shocking. But he has the pace. He's ran away from that second pack, and these guys are all pretty much on the same tire strategy. Going to have to come in about 2 laps, so there's still time for that second group. We're not saying for any reason that these front guys are going to be your top 17 coming to the end of this thing, as Aiden Smith and Logan Bradley trying to make sure that isn't happening, as those two hit each other going up the corner there. But Mike Cook could have the pace to win this race for Luke Evans Incorporated. And again, they still have to pit, but you're going to have about 13 laps after you pit where these tires are going to be much better than the rest of the field. Stephen Wallace Jr. catching right back up to that 81. And SWJ, this would be a big win for him as well. It's unsure if this will be his final season in the NSDCA. Has talked a lot about retiring at the end of the year, and he's right now fighting for the race lead in the second position here at Auto Club, as he's going to dive it to the inside, looking for that lead. Whoever leads coming into pit road could get a big boost there. It looks like he's going to back off, stay right behind Cook. Sladek in third, Gunnar Matheson fourth. Fifth is Daniel Kobza, Yepes in sixth, Aiden Smith seventh, Logan Bradley eighth, John Dilks ninth, Nicky Morris 10th. There's Butcher, but here's the rest of the field now, and you see Kukulon, Fitzwater, Faye, Sanford. Those guys are all at the tail end of this front of the lead lap, and those drivers are going to be the much slower ones. Even on these older tires, they're not. Well, even on the older tires, they're going to be much slower, but they don't have the pace to contend up front anyway. So those guys are starting to lose to those front guys, and they're going to try to unlap themselves possibly before everyone else comes down to pit road. 13 to go. You're going to have to come in a couple laps. Came into pit on lap 17. We said roughly 22 to 25 was the fuel window. It's more like 21 to 23 is about the fuel window. So this time by and the next few laps, you'll start seeing this front group start to dive into pit road, as Aiden Smith wants to go and ride the wall in that 83. Going to get that car into the outside wall, and that's going to lose him a ton of time down that back straightaway. Stephen Wallace Jr. is going for the race lead against Cook. We'll see which one of these can carry through turn number one. As Sladek goes wide, I think that means one or both of these these race leaders are diving it down pit road. No, they're going to stay side by side. And no, that second group's coming in. So that's Matheson and Kobza. So this right here could be the decision for the race winner, especially with drivers like Austin Johnson, who's now in that front pack, who is basically your race leader once the cycle's around, and the rest of these guys coming in with 21 laps to go. They're going to have to hope the fuel will last if we go green the rest of the way, as Cook and Stephen Wallace Jr., this whole group that's coming in now is going to be for sure good to go to the end. But you also have green-white checkered laps that could throw the fuel strategy out the window and make all of those drivers who definitely came in earlier on about 10 laps ago, those guys would definitely not have enough to make it in a green-white checkered. But Cook is down pit road, SWJ's down, and here comes pretty much the rest of that field coming on in. Cook has one of the first pit stops for starting so far back, so the rest of them coming on in, which is going to hand the lead over as soon as they cycle around one more lap to currently Austin Johnson. And you see there's Matheson and Kobza. They led that field down pit road for that cycle, so Austin Johnson will take the lead away and lead this event with Vince Freeze in second, Monaco third, Jose Perez fourth, Antoine Smith, Matthew Brown right there. Matheson's going to drop back a bit. There's Kobza. So now you got Alex Peters, Matthew Eves. Now the other thing, this 24, this 44 have about 11 laps fresher tires than the rest of the field. So once these tires start coming in for these guys, they could blow right past these guys up front. And here they come coming off a pit road. Yepes and Butcher about to have some words there. It looks like they are okay with it. And there's SWJ and Mike Cook as they come out of the corner. Vince Freeze has taken the lead and will take the lead right there. So now you got these top four pulling away, the rest of the field coming. So hopefully if everyone merges onto the back straightaway, good. Mike Cook could get a top 10 in this event for Luke Evans Incorporated after missing the Crown Royal 300. And now with everyone pretty much back up to speed, we're just making sure they all merge properly back onto the track and no one wipes each other out. And they will. So as they come around, 10 laps to go here at Auto Club. And it's Vince Freeze and Austin Johnson for North Border Motorsports setting pace with Jose Perez and Eric Monaco. That's your top four. Antoine Smith is fifth, and Mike Cook is currently the first driver with those fresh tires sitting in sixth. Stephen Wallace Jr. sits 8th, Gunnar Matheson 11th. So if this race goes green, there is a very, very realistic shot that Luke Evans Incorporated wins their first race today. Even still, he's only 2 seconds back from those front group with the fresher tires. We'll have to see if it'll happen, but you still have to see if everyone else is able to make it on fuel. And just like last year, a lot of teams complained about the fuel strategy races coming to the end, and it's going to be, this one is going to be again where an untimely caution shakes everything up. Everyone comes down pit road, but this looks a bit more natural than everything else, and we're right now in the midst of possibly seeing an underdog victory today. But again, we thought we saw that last year with Carson Bowers, but you had faster trucks on those fresher tires make the move. Stephen Wallace Jr. looks like that car is starting to fade. Gunnar Matheson is on the charge through the field for RER in that 24 team. SWJ working his way past back there. Alex Peters dropping time now to Logan Bradley and Gatlin Downey as they are 5 wide down the front straightaway. Do not crash, please, as John Dilks is going to be the one to back out, but Patrick Smith and Alex Fletcher are going to go all the way to the wall. Fletcher is going to get into the wall. Now Fletcher and Smith have to get off of the wall, and somehow they make 5 wide almost kind of work, as Fletcher was really the only one losing a ton of stuff back there, getting some damage to the side of that 46. All of Giotto pretty much grouped together right here in the midst of this small group. But there's now Mike Cook trying to chase down Antoine Smith, and with 7 laps to go at Auto Club, we still got 14 miles left in this race. A lot can happen, but it's the top 4 fighting and it's the North Border Motorsports drivers leading Auto's Eric Monaco and Gatlin Downey Incorporated's Jose Perez, the top 4 single file. And here we go, Mike Cook fighting for 6th with Antoine Smith as they go down this back straightaway. Cook, all I can say for Cook, do not overdrive that truck. Do not waste the tires on it. You might need that at the end. You can waste some gas. Even if we have one green, white checkered. You should be fine on fuel. You pit with 13 to go. You're going to have at least 7 laps extra. Plus, the NSDCA has said that they will try to rush the pace laps at the end of the race to try to lessen the cost of fuel on drivers, as Mike Cook now is clear into the 5th position around Antoine Smith and sets his sights on the top 4, as Jose Perez is now starting to lose the time there. Looking further back, as we said, the drivers that came in under that later pit stop cycle around lap 37, 38, 39. Gunnar Matheson, who's kind of been charging through the field, he's up to 2nd. Stephen Wallace Jr., I don't think they have a good adjustment on that car, or he does not have a good short run car. That 98 truck could be 3rd. That's the 3rd driver in line with those fresher tires. Daniel Cobb's a 4th driver in line, and I think... I don't think it was the 46 of Alex Fletcher. I think Matt Sladek was part of that. And most of this back group here was actually part of those drivers who came down a while ago. As they're going to go 4 wide again. John Dilks loves being in those 4 wide situations back here. We're going to watch that and hope it works, as Carson Bauer's in the 90. He's going to back out of it. Trying to be safe there for KGM. Looking the rest of the way through, there's Priya McShane at the back. Spurley Tube right now. There is Spurley Tube. Austin Johnson real slow. He's not coming in. There's Spurley Tube on the end of the front straightaway. He's met minimum speed. That 28 truck's not that damaged. But now you got the top 5. You see Mike Cook back there in the 81. He's caught Jose Perez right to the back of that number 35 as they come down this front straightaway. It's 4 laps to go. If Cook doesn't win this race, it would be sad for him, but a top 5, probably his best finish in the Truck Series ever. This is a great day for Luke Evans Incorporated and Mike Cook in general. Is now he's going to go after Perez and Johnson. And I said don't get too aggressive, but he might try to throw it 3 wide. Not going to happen, though. Johnson carries on the outside. Could this be Vince Friese's first win in the Truck Series? In that number 60 won the pole for the Crown Royal 300. Now could win in his 2nd full-time start for North Border Motorsports and get NBM their first career victory. 3 laps to go at Auto Club. Does the fuel hold up for the rest of this top 5? The only one safe we know in the top 6 trucks is Mike Cook, and that 81 truck is the only one left. He's up to 4th now. Are those fresh tires enough to get him up there and gain all that time with 3 to go? He's going to go to the inside of Johnson. It's going to be 3 wide for 2nd. He wants to go grab this win, but I don't think he's got enough in him. I don't know if that 81's got enough in the tank to get it going. Just enough pace. Freeze out in front. 2 to go. Monaco clear into 2nd. Johnson 3rd. I think if this race goes, I think this is Friese's to lose. Caution is out, and we're going to have a green-white checkered finish, and that is going to throw a wrench in everyone's plan, and pretty much all these front runners are screwed. Vince Friese, Eric Monaco, and the rest screwed. Charles Sanford looks like he and Anderson Reed might have been the 2 into the outside wall, but that's it. The 60, the 4, the 77, they have got to come down pit road, and this could hand the lead over to Mike Cook as this race comes to a close. They're going to catch up to the pace truck. Vince Friese there in the 60. If they don't pit, they're gambling big time, and at the end of this race, you know, maybe you got to gamble, especially on these green-white checkers. The NSDCA is going to see if anyone comes into pit road, and then they're going to rush to get this race back under green as fast as possible. So we'll see a quickie yellow, as we so said in the rules this year. Vince Friese out in front, Monaco 2nd, Johnson 3rd. Looks like it's going to be a quick yellow for the NSDCA, so they're going to hurry up this pace laps, get a quick replay, and hopefully we'll see if any of these drivers will have enough fuel to make it to the end of the King Taco 250. Got to have some flair here in California for this driver right here to end this. Charles Sanford making his first start in front of the hometown crowd is going to be turned and put on his side, sliding along the wall, driving on top of the wall for a second, and coming back down and continuing on in this event. So a pretty big scene here for the 15 this weekend, on board with the HBP 06, and for the 2nd week in a row, the back marker is going to affect the outcome of an NSDCA race here at Auto Club. Going to be the first green-white checkered finish of the year, starting off in the Crown Royal Truck Series, and what could be a controversial finish with about half the field possibly not going to make it back to the checkered flag here as this race goes, but the NSDCA did their best. They're going to put it green this time by, so it's only going to be about a lap of pace laps. You have to stretch your truck 2 extra laps. These guys that came in on lap lap about, what was it? That'd be 31, 30 or 31. It's going to be very close. Mike Cook, Gunnar Matheson, those two are inside the top 10 with Stephen Wallace Jr. at just, I think, 11th. Those three pit with about 13 to go. That means they have 7 laps extra of fuel. Everyone who pit up front is running on fumes at this point, and that's all I could say about it. Mike Cook in the 81 could win this race, depending on what happens to the top 3. But once they go green, there's nothing you can do. You have picked your grave, and you're going to lay in it if you are any of these top guys who run out of fuel at the end, but you can still save. Could you have saved enough to make it 2 extra laps in this event? The green-white checkered rule was in place last year. It's made some exciting finishes, some controversial finishes, and we're going to see what it brings today. Freeze, Monaco Johnson, your top 3. Cook and Perez, your top 5. Green flags in the air. 2 laps to go in the King Taco 250. Freeze with the jump. Cook trying to make a move back there in that 81. I don't know if he has to get too aggressive. I think one truck might be slow at the back. No, that's just the 3 that have been damaged. Vince Freeze carries off into the corner. Cook trying to get around Austin Johnson. Who's going to have to pull it down pit road this time by? That's going to be the question. Peter Onjek turns sideways down the back straightaway. He saves it. What a save out of the 97. But now this is the question. Who's coming down pit road? Who is out of fuel at the end of this one? Freeze out in front in the 60. Everyone trying to get on through. No one's out. They're staying. Cook is in. The 81 of Mike Cook is in. Somehow runs out of fuel. Freeze takes the white flag. Gunnar Matheson in the 24, he's not out of the woods yet. He's back there in 6th. If any of these guys run out on the last lap, he could still win this race. And it's Vince Freeze out in front for North Border Motorsports, the team that has never won in the Crown Royal Truck Series, Cup Series, or anywhere. They lead 1-2. Monaco dropping back in the 4. It's going to be a GMC victory if these two can make it out of 4. Vince Freeze, the pole sitter from the Crown Royal 300, has dominated the race so far ever since around those pit stops. Austin Johnson is going to try. He's not going to get there. Vince Freeze in the 60 is going to bring the cold to California. He wins the King Taco 250 at Auto Club. And I will say I did not have the 81 running out of fuel, so something must have happened there. And you see a ton of trucks ran out of fuel at the end. Spurley Tube, Corbett, including some of them. And it's most of the back markers. So I am shocked that Vince Freeze has enough to make it to the end. I don't know if he'll have enough to do a burnout, but I'm sure the team will run a gas man out there. And he's going to give Zachary Fitzwater a bit of a nudge through the corner. But I can't believe it. Vince Freeze has enough fuel to make it to the end, and he ends up winning the race. And North Border Motorsports gets to celebrate their first ever victory, a 1-2 finish for him. And I guess Monster Motorsports' master plan finally works. North Border Motorsports in victory lane. Give a shout out now. We got Jose Perez coming home 3rd, Antoine Smith 5th, Gunnar Matheson 7th, and what he thought would have been the winning call coming down with that 13 laps to go. Mike Cook, I don't understand. Cook came down, so did Maxwell Fay. I think that's about it. Kukulon did as well. So those 3 came down on that 37 laps in the books with 13 to go. So they must have just not fueled up the trucks enough to make it to the end, or they just tried to speed it up so they could keep it. You saw Cook had a pretty good lead over the rest of that group, so maybe he did a splash and go, and it unravels at the end. RER coming home with a great finish, 7th and 8th. You got Logan Bradley 9th, Ryan Butcher 10th for the hometown. Peter Onjak with what a save coming off the corner. He comes home 11th. Matthew Brown 12th. Alex Peters, Daniel Kobza, Stephen Wallace Jr. in the top 15. SWJ, good finish, but probably helped on that strategy there, but didn't help that everyone had enough fuel. And I'm actually shocked that many drivers still had enough fuel, 30 at the end. So I think that proves that a quickie yellow is much better for these green-white checkered finishes, because if we had a couple pace laps, the normal amount of pace laps here is about 3 before we go back racing. If you extended another 2 laps, I don't think any of those guys make it to the end, except maybe the handful. So that is great to see that all the trucks held up, all the fuel held up, and Vince Freeze holds on. What a drive by the Iceman back there in that number 60. He gets the win, gets to celebrate with Austin Johnson. Team boss Bobo Jones finally gets to see himself in victory lane, at least this time as an owner. Couple guys coming up just short. I'm sure Gunnar Matheson was ecstatic for that restart because he thought he could get maybe a second, maybe a first. Mike Cook, heartbreaking for Luke Evans Incorporated. So they have speed. I'm shocked by that, but they were 33rd at the end. Really heartbreaking there. KGM also kind of blows it at the end. Carson Bowers 21st. Hagen drops back. So KGM not getting the dream finish they had last year. Both trucks inside the top 10. Corbett, Maxwell Face. So it looks like most of the guys that came down outside of Benyako, because Benyako didn't come down under that 37 to go. So some of those guys definitely were running out of fuel at the end. But it looks like a lot of the underdog teams try to splash and go on that last green-white, on that last green flag pit stop, and it did not work out for him. Charles Sanford, Riley Spurley, too heartbreaking there. And Eli Bright, you got to feel for him. 3 wins last year in the trucks, and now he's going to sit. He finished 29th at Daytona, 40th this week. He's probably going to be taking that 8 truck outside of the top 30 in owners points. And with the owners points being the thing this year, is all the teams got rid of the charter system. It's the top 30 in owners points that lock you into a race. So the TSR 8 might not be out of the hot water yet over there at Texas Star Racing. But it is Vince Freeze taking home the win at Auto Club. What a performance by them. What a great show coming to the end. A strategy race turned into a last man standing event that actually had about 30 trucks still standing at the end of that green-white checkered. Vince Freeze and North Border Motorsports celebrate their first career win in the NSDCA. We thank you guys so much for watching. The Auto Club Cup race comes up in a couple days as well. The next time we come out here for the trucks, I'm pretty sure they're off next week. Either they're off next week or they go to South Boston. I know the Cup goes to Willow Springs next week to finish out the West Coast swing. Thank you guys so much for watching the Auto Club race, the King Taco 250. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time on the NSDCA.